Mura, matipid, madaling i-maintain, maangas. Yan yung kalimitang hinahanap ng isang rider sa motor. And based on my experience, mahirap humanap ng motor na pasok sa apat na aspetong ito. Lalo na sa panahon ngayon na patok ang pagmumotor, maraming riders ang naghahanap ng ganito. Merong mura pero mahirap i-maintain, merong madaling i-maintain pero hindi mura, merong matipid pero hindi mo trip ang itsura, meron din namang maangas ang looks pero hindi mura. Ang gulo, di ba? Pero, may isang motor akong nakita na in my opinion, kayang ibigay ang lahat ng ito. What we have here is a big displacement bike na matipid sa gas, napakadaling i-maintain, maangas ang looks, expressway legal, at higit sa lahat, mura. I'm Neozeke, and this is the Motorstar Cafe 400. Good day guys! Welcome back to my channel. So before we start this review, maraming salamat kay Matito for allowing us to test his bike and kay Kuis Marcos for giving us his insights sa bike for this review. In this video, we're going to review the most affordable 400cc and yet one of the best base bike dito sa Pilipinas in my opinion, the Motorstar Cafe 400. And as usual, we're going to run this bike through the different categories that we use to rate each bike with insights straight from the owner. And just a disclaimer lang ha, these ratings are based on my personal view and you may have a different one. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1 is the looks. The Motorstar Cafe 400 is a vintage standard bike that gives unlimited potential sa mga owners for customization. You can see it as a very basic bike that is in the borderline of many bike categories. The bike is somehow in the middle of the classic, scrambler, and cruiser category kasi it can be any of those based on your preference. The height of this bike is in the standard bike range, which is in the middle of being a scrambler and a cruiser. Just change the suspension of the bike together with the tires, you'll have that scrambler or cruiser looks. The looks of this bike is perfect for vintage bike lovers. From the twin gauges, to the round side mirrors, to the round headlights, bullet-type signal lights, and the dual P-shooter pipes. If you see this bike in person, ang unang mapapansin mo is kung gaano siya kahaba than the other bikes. Yes, it is thin for a 400cc bike, pero the bike is really tall and long if you see it in person. But to be honest, the stock looks of this bike is not something that you will really appreciate in terms of style and wow factor. And I would say na if you're not a classic bike enthusiast, you won't probably notice this bike, especially if you are into more aggressive and modern looks. This bike may be at the bottom of your list. The stickers of this bike is really something that Motorstar needs to work on kasi for me, hindi siya bagay sa bike. Parang may nabili lang na sticker sa kanto and dinikit sa bike. Sorry Motorstar, but that is how I see it. And if you take it off, mag-iiwan talaga siya ng marka sa tank and sa side covers ng bike. Kung naririnig mo yung term na pantra bike, this is one perfect example. And to be brutally honest, it's not one of the most enticing bikes na you will see in the market as stock. Pero, ngunit, subalit, datapwat, kabaliktaran naman ang value ng bike na ito sa classic riders na mahilig sa customs, including me. Kung lilikutan mo lang yung imagination mo, you will be able to unleash the beauty of this bike. Kung sa lower displacement category, merong TMX at Keyway Cafe Racer 152 na paboritong base bike ng mga nagko-custom, itong bike na ito naman ang best base bike sa higher displacement category in my opinion. Kung trip mo yung mga classic and vintage bikes, just repaint the parts and pwede na siya. Kung trip mo naman yung scrambler and tracker bikes, palitan mo lang yung gulong ng scrambler tires, higher suspension, and yung handlebar, pwede na siya. Kung trip mo ng cruiser, you can lower the bike, lift the front tank, change the tires and handlebar, pwede na din maging cruiser. Sobrang versatile ng bike na ito in terms of the looks. This bike has a height of 1,130mm, length of 2,130mm, width of 760mm, wheelbase of 1,420mm, and a ground clearance of 160mm. This bike comes in two different colors, the flat orange and the flat black. And if I'm to own one, of course, hindi mawawala yung classic saddlebag for extra storage. I will change the handlebar for a tracker or moto handlebar for that scrambler look, customize the seat na kahawig ng Ducati Scrambler, engine guards for the bike's protection, longer rear suspension, metal skid plate for the engine's protection, install an oil cooler para makatulong sa engine heat, custom rear fender, custom LED taillight, double disc brake conversion sa front, disc brake conversion sa rear, aftermarket side mirrors, malupit na custom paint job ng Dankashon, and of course, aftermarket exhaust para lumbas yung pagkamacho ng tunog niya. In terms of the looks, I would rate this bike based on the looks of the stock, so I would give this bike 3.5 stars. Number 2 is comfortability. As a standard bike, given na magiging comfortable ang riding stance itong bike na to. It uses a Chomps handlebar that is a versatile handlebar that suits almost every bike. With its medium rise, length, and balance curves, it's perfect for riders na naghahanap ng easy handling and comfortable handlebar, and at the same time, gives the bike that classy look. The foot pegs are in the standard position, kaya nakatulong din para maging komportable yung ride. Ang concern ko lang sa foot pegs ng bike nito parang medyo mataas yung brake pedals, kaya para mangangawit yung paa ko sa position niya, lalo na sa long rides. In terms of the seats naman, sobrang lambot at komportable niya. The material of the seats may not be premium, pero it is really soft, long, and comfortable for both the rider and the pillion. Okay na siya as stock, pero if you want this bike to be more comfortable, I suggest to bring this to the upholstery shops para mag-upgrade ng cushion at ng materials ng seats. The only cons na nakikita ko sa bike na to in terms of comfortability is that it is air-cooled. Meaning na medyo mas mainit siya than the other standard bikes, though not in the level ng init ng ibang high displacement bikes since single cylinder lang siya. The engine heat of this bike will be bearable sa traffic, and if you decide to customize this bike and add an oil cooler, makakatulong pa sa pag-lessen ng engine heat. Marami na namang owners ng Cafe 400 ang gumawa nito, kaya tested na yung upgrade na to. Weight of this bike is just 150 kilograms, which is very light for a 400cc bike. Para ka lang may dalang 150cc, kaya pwedeng-pwede ito pang araw-araw and sa newbie riders. And dahil sa weight niya, pwede din siyang isingit-singit sa traffic, pero dahil mas mahaba siya than the other standard bikes, need mo pa din maging careful. Seat height is 790mm, I'm 5'9", and ganito ang itsura pag akong nakasakay. So for the comfortability, I would give this bike 5 stars. Number 3 is engine and performance. This bike is powered by a 397cc, air-cooled, 4-stroke, single overhead cam, single-cylinder engine that produces peak power of 26.8 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 30 Nm of torque at 5,500 RPM. It uses a 5-speed gearbox and a carb fuel supply system. This bike is still using a CDI ignition system, kaya dito pa lang, alam mo na ang sobrang basic ng bike na to. Call me old school, pero I really like the kickstart of this bike. It is something na very helpful, lalo na pag medyo mahina na yung battery. Documented top speed of this bike is just 135 km per hour on stock. But of course, there are a lot of upgrades na pwedeng gawin sa bike na to para mas bumilis pa, like the sprocket, bora kit, pipes, etc. Fuel tank capacity is 13 liters and has a good fuel consumption for a big displacement bike, which is 30 kilometers per liter. Front tire has a size of 90 by 90 by 19, while the rear has a size of 130 by 70 by 18. Stock tires are Kenda Cruiser SC tires, which are composed of medium compound rubber. Even though it will really give you a lot of miles before replacing it, suggestion from the owners is to upgrade it with better tires for better grip. It is equipped with 280mm single disc brake with 2-piston calipers at the front and a drum brake at the rear, which follows the classic UJM setup from the 60s. It is also equipped with a 35mm telescopic forks at the front and a dual shock adjustable preload at the rear. Being a single-cylinder engine, you may expect that you will feel the engine vibration as you push this bike to its max. The sound of the stock exhaust is really good na due to its dual P-shooter pipes. And to give you an idea, here is the sound. Ganda ng tunog. And kung gusto mo talaga ng tunog na mas magpapaangas sa bike mo, here's a sample of twin bullet pipes from Orion Exhaust. So for the engine and performance, I would give this bike 4 stars. Number 4 is the tech. I would consider the Motorstar Cafe 400 as a base bike. A bike na sobrang bare, which gives the owner unlimited idea for customization. And being a base bike, we should not expect any technology sa bike na ito. Unang-una, this bike is still using CDI instead of an ECU. Dito pa lang alam mo nang walang technologies tong bike na to. It even uses a halogen headlight and a bulb-type tail lamp. And yun na yun. It doesn't have traction controls, riding modes, ABS, or digital panels, as in base bike lang talaga siya. It has a dual analog gauges that displays the speedometer, odometer, trip meter, turn signal indicator, and high beam indicators on the left gauge, and the tachometer, neutral indicator, and low fuel indicator on the right gauge. However, kahit na wala siyang kahit anong tech features, I would say na it won't matter sa bike na to for some riders, including me. Kasi this bike is meant for a classic custom upgrade. Actually, in my opinion, mas okay pa nga na walang any tech feature itong bike na to dahil wala nang iintindihin yung mga owners and custom shops kapag pinalitan na yung mga parts and components ng bike. At kahit yung mga riders na hindi masyadong marunong sa pag-custom ng bike, madadalian sa pag-custom nito dahil sa sobrang basic ng components. I don't think that we can give any good rating ng tech sa isang base bike, pero it doesn't mean na hindi maganda yung bike. I will explain this na lang later. So in terms of the tech, I will give this bike 1 star. Number 5 is reliability. I know na for the majority, the Motorstar brand is a red flag since it is made from China. We have a lot of brand-conscious riders dito sa Pilipinas, kaya maraming magsasabi na hindi reliable yung bike. This is a negative connotation sa mga China bikes na I believe is mababago once you own one, especially this bike. Motorstar has been in the Philippines since 2002, and I would say na they have been offering very reliable bikes. Take the Motorstar Z200 as an example. Nagkaroon ako ng Z200 last 2005 na tumagal sa akin hanggang 2008 and hindi ako nagkaroon ng malaking problema sa bike na yon. And just like what I said sa past vlogs ko, that bike is a 12-hour endurance race finisher last 2006. Regarding naman sa Cafe 400, it is launched here in the Philippines last 2015 and since then, parang wala nagbago sa looks and sa engine ng bike na to up to the latest models. I know a lot of Cafe 400 owners na meron din ibang bikes from other brands and they share a common review sa bike na ito, na this bike is a keeper. Na mas matatag itong bike na to kaysa sa ibang latest model ng bikes from some other brands. The only negative review that we are getting from this bike is lumuluwang yung bolts niya due to the vibration, which is something that can be easily fixed by a Loctite thread locker. And that madaling mapunit yung intake manifold, which is not the case on the 2020 models up. Aside from that, all I can hear from the owners of this bike is this bike is for forever. And as a testament ng reliability ng bike na to, this bike is a Boss Ironman finisher ng ilang taon na din. So for the reliability, I would give this bike 5 stars. Number 6 is maintenance and accessories. Contrary to the stereotypical reputation ng mga China bikes na mahirap ang parts, ibahin nyo itong Cafe 400. Parts are not a problem sa bike nito. Yes, this bike is made in China, pero parts of this bike are compatible sa iba-ibang Japanese bikes, kaya madami kang options. Clutch lining and oil filter, pwede sa Kawasaki Barako. O-rings, pwede sa Honda TMX. Even if you decide to bore up this bike to 440cc, pasok yung bore up kit, camshaft, and engine sprocket ng Honda XSR 400 sa bike na to. And these parts are very cheap than the parts and upgrade kits ng ibang bikes. Also, even though this is a big displacement bike, oil capacity is just 1.8 liters since single cylinder siya kaya matipid na din every PMS. Plus, the bike is already equipped with a washable oil filter kaya nakadagdag sa pagiging matipid ng maintenance itong bike. Being a basic base bike, I don't really think na mahihirapan sa maintenance ang mga owners ng bike nito. In terms of accessories naman, mas limited lang siya than the other bikes. Very few stores will cater accessories that is specific for this bike like the sidebar brackets, engine guards, and windshield. Pero with the emergence of the custom shops dito sa Pilipinas, you will be able to have those accessories customized based on your preference. And this is where I think this bike excels, sa dali ng customization. So for the maintenance and accessories, I would give this bike 4.5 stars. Number 7 is the price. Itong category nito ang pinakapanalo sa bike na to. This bike is the most affordable expressway legal bike in the market as of the moment. Yes, it doesn't have any tech features and has an outdated engine design, pero the bike gives you more value than what you are paying for in my opinion. The Motorstar Cafe 400 is currently priced at 145,000 pesos. And if you pay by cash, you can get it discounted at 136,000 pesos. Saan ka pa? 400cc na bike na mas mura pa kaysa sa mga lower cc bikes? Astig, di ba? The closest expressway legal bike sa price ng bike na ito is the Kawasaki Dominar 400, which is priced at 195 pesos. That is 50,000 more na pwede mo nang gamitin for accessories, gears, and upgrades. There may be some of you na will say na mas okay naman yung kasi yung tatak niya and maraming features. And I don't disagree with that. Kung brand and tech features yung hanap nyo, this bike is really not for you. Ang pagpili naman ng bike ay base sa nakikita mong need mo sa isang bike. Kung need mo ng malupit at pang-araw-araw na scooter, andyan naman si NMAX, PCX, or ADV. Kung need mo naman ng pang-track, you can go for the Yamaha R15, Suzuki GSX-R 250, and the likes. Kung need mo naman ng street bike, meron din namang KTM Duke 200, Yamaha TFX 150, or the Yamaha XSR 155. Pero kung ang need mo ay classic bike na i-custom based on your preference na expressway legal, this bike is for you. Ang pinakamalupit pa doon ay lahat ng nabanggit ko na bike has a lower displacement pero mas mahal pa sa Motorstar Cafe 400. So for the price, I would give this bike 5 stars. Number 8 is the owner's rating. So yun mga kuys, nandito yung ating featured rider today, si Marcus. Kuys Marcus, yun. So kuys, ano yung mga masasabi natin na pros and cons in terms of the Cafe 400?
Una, pros ng Cafe 400, syempre, yung unang-unang dahilan kung bakit siya yung mabenta, very affordable. Siya ata ang I think siya yung pinakamurang expressway legal na bike ngayon Back then, 145,000 ata ang cash niya. Pero ngayon parang nasa 154 na ata ang cash price na ngayon Tapos available pa ng installment. So, yun ang unang-unang pros niya para sa akin, very affordable. So, kung gusto mo makapag-expressway, di konting dagdag na lang sa NMAX, di naka 400cc ka na. Then the next na kasi ako mahilig ako sa classic bikes yan, classic bike, andaling pormahan, readily available yung mga parts. Tapos, isang nagustuhan ko sa kanya, kasi yung ibang kasi China, sa totoo lang, to be frank, di ba China bike naman ang Cafe 400. Motorstar, Shine Ray yan sa China Pero maganda yung stock na gulong niya. Ang stock na gulong niya, Kenda Kenda is from Korea. So, isa yun ang pros ko sa Cafe 400. After service, okay din kasi mababait ang mga mekaniko ni Motorstar. Si Boss Eric De La Cruz, yan. Naging kaibigan ko yan sa sa Motorstar madaling pormahan, yung parts compatible sa ibang sa ibang motor. Isa pa lang naisip kong pros ng Cafe 400, yung maintenance niya kasi medyo low maintenance siya kasi lang siya, carb type siya. Unlike doon sa ibang counterpart niya na 400cc, mga fuel injected na. So ito, hindi mo naman kailangan ng medyo technical na mekaniko. So mekaniko medyo marunong lang, pwede ka na matulungan sa problema. Isa pang nakita kong dito, yung sa swing arm niya, medyo maluwag siya dun sa ibang 400cc na nakita ko Mas malapad yung swing arm niya. So meron akong naging 400cc before. Ang pinakamalapad na ilagay ko is 150. 150 at 425 na rim. Parang ito, nakakita ako ng mga naglalagay ng 160. 5.00 na rim Kasi dun sa isang counterpart niya, yun ang max na ilagay ko 150 lang na ilagay ko talaga. At 425 na rim. Ang isa pang ko dyan, troubleshooting, medyo simple din. Pag medyo marunong ka sa motor, yung mga basic troubleshooting, kaya naman. Like yung mga electrical, ilaw, very basic. Hindi naman masyadong technical ng niya. Parts niya medyo matibay naman. May mga parts siyang matitibay naman na okay din. Fuel, isa pang pros niya, very fuel efficient. Ako kasi medyo barubal ako gumamit ng motor kasi bomba ako ng bomba. Parang mga nasa ako dyan. 18 to 22 kilometers per liter ako dyan. 18 pag city, siguro 22 pagka ride.
Pero walwal mode yung 18 to
18, yun? Barubal yun. Talagang bomba. Walang busina. Bomba ka na ng bomba. Isa pang pro niyan, very newbie friendly siya kasi unang-una yung riding position niya, medyo upright ka kasi dyan kasi scrambler type So medyo upright ka, mataas ang handlebar mo, tapos nakatayo ka. Unlike sa mga sports, medyo nakayuko ka, di ba? Yan medyo madaling i-maneuver kasi ako lang, from my experience, pagka more nakalin ka sa bike, kung ang bike mo is sports bike or cafe racer, pag naka-clip-on ka na handlebar, medyo it requires a different different set of skills para ma-maneuver mo yung bike Medyo technical na ang riding position, yung riding style ng mga naka-cafe racer at ng mga naka-sports bike. And like dito sa cafe, yan medyo, kasi naiakyat ko na ng marilaki yung SV kasi yung wife ko naka-SV. SV is medyo nakayuko Tapos medyo picky ang handlebars niya. And then naiakyat ko na rin sa marilaki yung double 8 scrambler, yung Ducati scrambler. Mas naililin ko mabuti yung mga scrambler type kaysa dun sa SV kasi nga feeling ko dun sa riding position, ilan naman nakita kong kaibahan niya Yung riding position mas maganda ilin. Kumbaga kasi ako hindi naman ako matagal na nagmumotor, hindi ako nagka-track, never ako nag-track. So yung mga sa twisties, yung mga lean, medyo mas nadadalian ako sa ganyan, sa mga scrambler type than the sports type.
So in terms of the cons naman, Kuis, ano yung mga masasabi nating cons sa bike?
Sa cons, ang masasabi ko dyan, first, Ito based on my experience medyo, kasi diba China bike nga, medyo mababa ang tingin ng tao. Sunod, because medyo budget friendly siya, yung ibang parts niya at medyo economy rin yung parts niya, hindi ganun kaganda. Na-experience ko dyan sa ibang parts na nababalian ako ng tornilyo. Like, nung nagpalit ako ng shocks niyan, nabalian ako ng tornilyo ng shocks. Then, yung ibang bakal niya, madaling kalawangin. Like, yung wheel adjuster sa likod, sa rear tire, nagkakalawang. Clutch niya, medyo matigas. Yan ang common, medyo matigas yung clutch niya. Tapos, kung ikaw medyo speed demon ka, hindi niya masasatisfy yung mo kasi single cylinder, tapos ang top speed niya ay for me, na-reach ko dyan, para nasa 145 lang ako sa sa cafe. Isa pa, yung sa tunog, kung naghahanap ko ng magandang tunog, yung mga tunog inline 4, syempre hindi niya maibibigay sa inyo yan. Kasi siya single cylinder lang siya. Medyo, ako based on experience kasi, nakasama ko sa ride yung motor ng iba ang gamit, at yung rider, naka-coms kami. Sa coms, tunog jackhammer yung yung Cafe 400 Yun ang tunog niya kasi nga single cylinder So kung naghahanap kayo ng magandang tunog, hindi feeling ko hindi maibibigay nung motor. Isa pang naisip ko na another cons nitong cafe is air-cooled siya So hindi pwede sa bansa tulad natin tropical country, hindi siya liquid cooled, wala siyang radiator. So pag nag-ride ka na mainit, ang init din talaga ng bike. Yung iba naglalagay ng oil cooler, nakikita ko sa group, may mga naglalagay ng oil cooler, pero kasi hindi ako fan ng ganun kagrabing modification, ganun ka-heavy na mods Yung sa akin, hanggat kayang plug and play, ipa-plug and play ko lang. Pero pagka ganun ka-heavy, parang hindi ko tinatry yung ganun. Pero sabi nila, okay naman daw. Tapos ang isa pang cons ko dyan ay clutch cable. Naputulan na ako dyan. 2 times ako naputulan. Tapos sa group, pag nakakita ko, laging clutch cable ang nagiging problema. Pero okay naman kasi TMX 155 na clutch cable, compatible daw sa kanya. Ayun. Kaya nung nag-hoard ako nung clutch cable. May 3 clutch cable pa ako dyan sa hindi ko naman nagamit. Cons, ano ba? Sasakit ulo nyo kasi madaling pormahan, magastos yung motor.
Magastos sa customization.
Magastos sa customization. Ito yung sa akin, heavily customized na Ayun pala, isa pang cons niya regarding sa tech, syempre being a budget-friendly bike na economy, wala siyang mga technology na unlike sa ibang 400cc na equipped na, wala siyang ABS. Yung rear wheel niya for a big bike is drum brake yung likod niya So medyo off kayo dun kasi medyo mabilis ang takbuhan ng big bike, di ba? Tapos yung rear wheel mo ay naka-drum brake. Though may mga ibang bikes naman na kasi like in W800, mga before yung 2020 ng W800, yung rear wheel ng W8 is naka-drum brake din. So parang yung cafe, parang baby brother ng W8 yan. Kasi in terms of looks, medyo pareho sila ng looks niyan Parang medyo beefy lang yung W8 kasi 800cc nga. Ay, ito pa pala. Sa mga medyo technical na kasi ako nagpip na sa painting ko ng motor tsaka sa detail. Isa sa pinaka-naayawan ko sa cafe is yung gas tank niya. Yung gasket ng gas tank niya medyo maluwag. Tapos, pag tinakpan yun, nagre-rest siya dun sa painted side na nung butas nung tangke. So pag nabasa 'yun, nabababad lang yung gasolina sa labi ng butas. Nabababara ng gasolina yung labi ng butas, yung pintura, nabababara din ng gasolina. So ang tendency magbakbak yung pintura. Isa pa palang cons ng cafe. Very common to sa lahat ng cafe, yung intake manifold. Very brittle siya, ang daling masira. So pakikita nyo sa group, talaga may yung nagbebenta na ng prefabricated na ganyan, na bakal na. I suggest kung may bili man ng cafe, if ever in the future, mag-invest na kagad dun sa intake manifold na bakal. Kasi ako nasiraan ako nun before. Doon ako napunitan. Tapos nung tinawag ko kay Boss Eric, without seeing the bike, yung agad nung sinabi niya, baka sira yung intake manifold mo, sir. Which is true naman, isira ka punit yung intake manifold ko. So pinalitan ko lang yun. Nung pinalitan ko yun, medyo okay naman yun lang naman ang naging problem ko dyan sa bike ko so far. Since I've owned it nung 2019.
So, in terms of your rating dun sa bike natin, 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, paano mo i-rate yung bike?
Overall, para sa akin, based sa gamit ko, 4 naman, I'd give it a 4. 4 stars siya. Kasi okay naman, very reliable bike. Unlike dun sa ibang counterpart niya, mas gusto ko to
Sige, maraming salamat.
Thank you, Kois. Walang problema. Ikaw pa. No problem.
So let's do a recap of the ratings we gave this bike. For the looks, we gave 3.5 stars. For the comfortability, we gave 5 stars. For the engine and performance, we gave 4 stars. For the tech, we gave 1 star. For the reliability, we gave 5 stars. For the maintenance and accessories, we gave 4.5 stars. For the price, we gave 5 stars. And for the owner's rating, we have 4 stars. And for the final verdict, we gave the Motorstar Cafe 400 4 stars. As I've mentioned kanina, you will have a hard time appreciating the Motorstar Cafe 400 while looking at it. Pero you will see the value of this bike once na umandar na yung idea sa utak mo for customization. If you are on a tight budget and want to have a bike for customization na matibay, reliable, at pasok sa expressway dito sa Pilipinas, this bike fits the bill. Kahit na mababa yung rating ng bike nito sa ibang category natin, hindi nun ibig sabihin na hindi maganda yung bike. Katulad nga ng sinasabi ng karamihan, walang perpektong motorsiklo. Depende lang yan sa nakikita mong gamit at ibibigay ng bike sa'yo. And for me na naghahanap ng matibay na bike for customization, pasok na pasok itong bike na to. And to be honest, ito yung bike na napagkasunduan namin ni Chairman na bilhin as our second bike. Well, before kami bumili ng scooter for office use, malay natin, matuloy pa din yung plano namin in the future. Di ba, Chairman? And of course, kung may natutunan kayo sa review na ito, appreciate guys if you can like, share, and subscribe to my channel para updated kayo sa latest uploads. Thank you guys for watching this video, and see you again in our next vlog. This has been Neozeke signing off. Always remember, stay safe, ride safe, and God bless.